Hi, this is Russ with Devoted Golfer TV. It's the 2016 PGA Merchandise Show, and I'm here with Bill McPherson from Graphite Design.
Good morning, Russ.
And, you know, Bill and I have known each other now for quite some time. We've done a bunch of these together, and I regard Graphite Design as one of those, one of those few shaft companies in the business that really is in complete control of the manufacturing process and turns out quality that I can count on. So I know when I pick up a Graphite Design shaft, it's the same as that other Graphite Design shaft that I was using during the fitting. Give me a little background on Graphite Design.
Sure, yeah, certainly. So Graphite Design golf shafts, based in Japan, Japanese-owned company, obviously, has been in the business for 26 years now. Actually, the founder of the company started making we'll call it graphite tubes, before Graphite Design, and he had a lot of extensive knowledge and brought that to his own company, Graphite Design. So yeah, the company's been around for quite a while. I think it's fair to say it's a pretty well-known global brand. We're happy to be here at the PGA show to present some of the new products that we have to offer, and I appreciate the compliments that you've provided to the brand regarding the quality. I think it's relevant in what we see on tour play with regards to the shafts that are played by some of the world's best players. And again, we're just real happy to be here.
So in Japan, Graphite Design makes bicycle frames?
Yes, they have diversified into a bicycle frame division where they make road bikes as well as some very high-end mountain bike frames and some other components that are sold only in Japan. But much like
fishing rods still, or no?
No, they don't specialize in fishing. That was prior to getting into the golf business. Mr. Yamada, who has since passed away a few years ago, he was an avid golfer, and I think the passion of golf is what brought him into developing what we now know as the Tour AD accuracy and distance line of golf shafts. And he was somewhat of a, I guess you could say, an icon in the industry with regards to what we see today here with the Tour AD line.
Okay, so this is pretty much, I'm not quite
this
sure
would be
that's all of them.
This would be the rainbow of flavors, if you will. Right.
Yeah,
right.
it's a great rainbow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty well known.
These are all the brands, and
so these would be the models that we're offering currently here in the U.S. Specifically. Over here on this side, we've got our two new shafts, the Tour AD GP and M9003. We'll talk about a little bit. Those are both wood products, as well as a new hybrid called HY. The model DI and BB, both synonymous names and models that have been around for a little while. And on the other side, we've got our MT and MJ and Tour AD SL2. These are also three wood shaft models that have some good tour play here. This is a lighter weight shaft that is specialized for the slower swing speeds, the SL2 model. And then, of course, our U.S. spec shafts, we'll call them, that are marketed in the U.S. and Europe and whatnot. Outside of Japan, the G Series and YS Nano Reloaded.
Okay. So new.
The
GP.
New GP, correct.
And,
GP.
when I looked at this, I realized that these letters actually stand for something.
Well, we try to put something in the form of GP, the acronym. So greatest performing shaft. That's our hopes and dreams that this shaft will be.
So give me what DI stands for.
Deep impact.
Deep impact.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So
Deep
they all,
impact. There's a little something there.
Yeah.
Deep impact. BB.
So you're
the
having
blue
a
bullet.
pretty deep impact on tour right now, aren't you?
I think it's fair to say that we've had a deep impact. Last year was a great year for us from a standpoint of the successes the players had out on tour.
We get to see that orange and white shaft on Sunday afternoon all the time now.
It's becoming
both on the
well-known.
PGA and on the LPGA.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. So tell us a little bit about this one.
So yeah, the GP. So GP model. Every other year we kind of go back and forth between a stiffer tip, softer tip model. So this would be a stiffer tip bend profile. It's got a little bit more modern technology that we'll talk a little bit more about. But it's designed to be more of a mid-ball flighted shaft for low spin. It's available in the standard weights of 55, 65, 75, and 85 gram weights. 46-inch blank, 335 tip. Pretty standard.
Okay.
Right.
So you cover the full range of SKUs with this one. Yeah.
Right. Every year, that's what our new products do.
And I saw this one a little bit last year.
The M9003 model, correct.
Yeah.
So the family of 9003 has always been a very stiff profile design for the higher swing speed players.
What's the M stand for? Muscle?
I think that's probably a good way to put it. That's
yeah,
right.
yeah, you got to have some muscle to swing this.
Modernized M9003 is the other way to look at it. So
Yeah.
basically, the M9003 is available in a 68 and 78 gram weight S&X flex only, as I mentioned. Very stable shaft, stiff mid to tip, and in the handle of the shaft to promote a very low ball flight, penetrating type ball flight, and low spin. Again, for really the swing speeds that are over 105 mile per hour, strong loading tempo, fast hard ball hitter.
Yep. So maybe we get some of these in the hands of my friend Eric Jones and see what he can do with
That'd
them.
be a good idea. Yeah, we've had some good feedback here at the PGA show, both at the demo day with regards to reduction in spin and bringing the ball flight down with some real fast ball speed, high speed hitters. So
Okay.
yeah.
Another
Third,
new one?
the third new one, our 280 HY hybrid. So HY would be a slightly softer version of our DI hybrid, available in 65, 75, 85, and 95 gram weights, designed to promote more of a mid to high ball flight as opposed to the DI, which is more of a mid-lower penetrating type ball flight. And I would say more of a low to mid spin. Mid spin as you get in the lighter weights. Spin's going to go down as you get into the heavier weights. But again, another great hybrid shaft to complement the 280 wood model.
So the picture here is 85, but there's also a 95 gram version of this.
Correct. A 65 gram, a 75 gram, the 85 gram, and then a 95 gram as well. So 4 weights.
Yeah, and I've done a little with that 95 already into the 105 mile an hour guys. 105 plus. You just want to put some weight in your hybrids. They're used to that, and that's worked.
Great. Yeah, I'm happy to hear that.
Okay, so MSI technology.
Yeah, so we'll talk a little bit about the technology that we employ in our shafts. MSI would be, I'll call it the baseline that we design all our products around. It's kind of page 1 in our book. MSI standing for Material Stiffness Integration. So within the library of materials that we have available that we mainly purchase from our main material supplier, Toray. Toray is a very well-known carbon fiber supplier. As many people know, they're also in the aerospace business and one of the main suppliers to Boeing for the 787 construction of both the wings and fuselage. So nonetheless, the materials that we have in our library are quite extensive, numbered up to 75 to 100 different types of material. And that what that gives the engineers the opportunity to do is take those different material stiffnesses as well as resin contents from a standpoint of weight and put it into our material MSI, material stiffness integration technology, to create what we call the golf shaft. As you can see here, all golf shafts generally have a 45 degree and reversing degree ply, which produces the backbone of the shaft and drives torque. And then, of course, the balancing of 0 degree plies, 90 degree plies throughout the shaft to promote those different stiffness requirements that the engineer is trying to achieve with regards to what we want the shaft to do. That being launch the ball high, low, and promote a lower spin, or maybe even more of a mid to high spin.
So it's the blend of these wraps in the shaft that create the different performances that we're seeing from different shafts. Mid-stiff, mid-soft, tip-stiff. It's just a matter of how these things are laid in and the density of those materials.
Exactly.
Let's talk about this one a little bit.
X-directional. Yes, X-directional technology is employed in our G-Series product line.
So that's a lower price point shaft.
Right, the G-Series being a U.S. spec shaft, we obviously wanted to design a product that would be affordable for the players that wanted a good performing shaft at a lower price. So X-directional technology is kind of an extension of MSI technology. And as you can see here, it employs a little bit more of the fiber angular ply locations throughout the shaft. Where
so you not only have the traditional 45 degree and 45 degree reverses, but you're doing some 15 degree and some 30 degree.
Right.
So you're taking some of this biasing that will give you torque stability, but you're applying a greater amount of that
maybe
particular wrap to longitudinal stability.
Right. Along the length of the shaft, maybe even a longer ply of the and maybe more the midsection. But nonetheless, the bottom line would be what we've done here is we've taken this technology and employed it in a shaft where we feel we've gained some performance attributes that help the golfer at the end of the day improve their ball flight, but keeping the price point down. Right. So
great.
That would be X-directional.
DI
technology. So first employed in our 280 DI model, the orange and white shaft. DI technology uses what we call the nano-alloy material technology. So nano-alloy technology is really prevalent more in the resin system of the fibers that we use. This is a special material. It's usually employed in the tip or midsection of the shaft to increase stability within the shaft without adding weight.
So when we say nano-alloy to the golfer, help him understand this a little bit. We're taking these high-strength, short fibers, and
we're adding to them a special resin, or the glue of the shaft. And that glue
we're putting those fibers in the glue.
Well, the nanotubes. The nano is kind of a technology that we've heard a lot about over the years. Maybe not so much long, but the last 10 years, where it adds strength to certain materials such that they become quite a bit stronger.
And so we're adding strength to the resin.
We're adding the strength in the resin.
Or as you might say, the glue. The glue that's holding the carbon fibers together.
Thus it's called an
we're
alloy.
actually making the glue stronger.
Right.
Yeah.
And by using that in smaller quantities through the shaft, as I was mentioning, maybe it's a special tip flag that is employed, we're able to increase the stability of the shaft without adding 3 or 4 plies of the standard material that don't use the nanoalloy technology. So again, it's adding stability, and the engineers can place it in certain areas of the shaft that they may want to add that stability to adjust the bend profile to, again, meet the needs of what we're trying to do with that particular design from a ball flight standpoint, to promote a higher launch or lower launch, etc.
Yeah, that's great information for the average golfer who
try to
keep
it simple.
You hear the term nano and you don't know what's nano.
I think the best way to look at it is it's just a little more technology and advancement in graphite shafts, for that matter, giving the engineers a little more of another tool to make a better product, a better shaft.
Let's move on here. Toray.
So Toray, as we know, I was mentioning, Toray is our main material supplier. They've developed the new material technology that's employed in both the brand new GP shaft that we're launching here at the PGA Show, as well as our M9003. So Toray T1100G, carbon fiber with nano-alloy technology. The difference here is the material this time. So we're using the same nano-alloy technology in the resin of the carbon fiber pre-preg, but it's the material that they've advanced this time.
The fiber.
The fibers,
Yeah,
right.
Okay.
So in this slide, you can see what is being demonstrated. The standard T300, which, 700, 800, that's what has been used for many, many years to make golf shafts and other things. Toray's developed a new higher modulus, strand strength, and tensile modulus material, as you can see at the top of this chart, which is really quite revolutionary. It's hard to develop a material as such that has a high strand strength as well as a high tensile modulus. So what we've got now is an even stronger material. It's going to resist.
So we have a stronger material that's actually a little bit lighter, right?
A little bit. It's the same.
Okay, I
the
shouldn't say
same
lighter.
weight.
So we've increasing strength without increasing weight.
Correct. Right. We've
So
made a
if we want
stronger
to make
material.
a lighter weight golf shaft, we can do that without giving up strength.
Exactly. And then you can see strand strength here. It has a high resistance to falling apart.
Yeah.
It resists that type of impact forces in the golf swing, and it provides the golfer with, again, a little more technology in their golf shafts.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, 2016 lineup. So as we've kind of started at the top here with our GP shaft,
You should have put that one at the top.
That maybe is a good point. Kind of look at it from a chronological order. I think most everybody can see, the Tour AD rings. That's kind of what we're synonymous for and known well for. But yeah, the newer shafts at the top. Of course, the MJ and MT models, GT and BB models. But as you pointed out, the DI, the orange and white shaft, probably one of the most well-known Tour AD shafts out there.
So in terms of tour popularity, you put the most popular shaft on the bottom.
Well, it is.
We'll flip this slide over next
It is
time.
the most popular shaft on tour. And it is actually one of the best-selling shafts in our lineup. It still continues to be a really good shaft, again, designed to promote a higher ball flight with low spin. And, you can find it in all of our dealers as well as the OEMs that have it as an upgrade in their custom upgrade lineup.
And then in tour popularity, where do we go next? MJ, MT?
Yeah, MT and MJ, as I mentioned, MJ had 14 wins out there on the global tours, and that was last year's model, so we're real happy with that. MT's got some real good play. The LPGA players, they've kind of come to to like this shaft. We found some really good performance in Fairway Woods in the MT and MJ as well.
Yeah, yeah, it's that very, very stiff tip in those that was designed for the heavier heads. Turns out to be a very, very stable tip in fairways.
Right, and then the MJ is a slightly softer version of the MT. It gives a little bit more of a bending in the center section for a little bit higher launch condition than the MT, but they're similar profiles. And as I mentioned earlier, every other year we go from a soft tip to stiff tip. So as you walk down the line, you know, the DJ and GT would have a slightly softer tip, marry up with the MJ, where the MT, BB, and DI have that stiffer tip profile. Right.
Okay.
And that's prevalent here in this
yeah,
chart.
And this is the chart that you used to
Right.
explain that.
Very simple.
To the fitter and to the golfer.
Right,
Yeah,
very simple way of looking at from the tip to mid to butt section of the shafts. A 5 being very stiff, working way down to 1 being very soft. You can see the DI has a stiff tip section, a medium mid, and a medium butt section, as opposed to our new GP, for instance, which is just slightly stiffer at a 5 in the mid section, 2 to a 3, and then in the butt section, a 3+ versus the 2 in the DI.
So the proportional of these things
right, it's the balancing
changes a little bit, and that's why you go to a fitter that understands the products and has a range of things available to you, so he can find the one that fits you.
Exactly. That's where these are the tools in the toolbox of the fitter. And when you come in with your driver and you get on his launch monitor and you have the opportunity to show what your ball flight is, he may find that your spin is maybe a little too high. Your launch may be a little bit too high. And maybe let's try the GP and bring the launch and spin down, or the BB. BB more of a low to mid launch shaft. So yeah, we've got, I think, a good offering that the club fitters grasp and they understand. It's very simple, and it helps them to help the golfer at the end of the day gain distance.
And this, by the way, is a very, very simplified chart of a very, very extensive chart that's available to the fitters that would be much too complicated to put on a slideshow like this.
Again, try to keep it simple.
Yeah.
So this would be the slide covering our Tour AD hybrid and iron shafts for 2016. As I mentioned, the Tour AD HY hybrid, brand new, a little softer version of the DI hybrid, more of a mid to high launch versus mid launch. We also still carry our UT shafts. These shafts are very popular, have been around for a long time, very generic colors that go with all the other shafts that are in our lineup. Also, we have a Tour AD iron that's available in 65, 75, 85, and 95 gram weights. And then we also have a very heavy 105 and 115 gram weight available for the better player looking for a little more low penetrating ball flight that wants to move from steel but still have that weight in their iron.
Yeah, I haven't worked with these. Are these parallel or constant weight?
That would be a constant weight taper tip shaft. So a higher end product for the the better player. Again, but not to say that the lighter weights wouldn't be good for a slower swing speed that needs help getting the ball in the air. But it's a higher end shaft, a little more expensive.
And this one as well? That's
correct. That'd be a
constant weight.
Constant weight. This is actually a combo flex model in our line where you kind of like soft stepping or hard stepping, depending on if you're building a stiff or extra stiff set. We would send you the certain part numbers needed to accomplish your goal of what flex you're building. But 105 and 115 gram S and X flex.
So
heavier weight.
So we're getting to see this one on Sunday too, aren't we?
Yes, we are. Yeah, we've again a lot of popularity out on tour. The DI model continues to do well.
And so we see that orange shaft not only in the drivers, we're seeing it in hybrids.
In hybrids and driving irons now as well. Right.
Yeah.
The popularity of this driving irons seems to have caught on, and using a hybrid shaft for that seems to be popular. Yeah.
Okay.
So this again, another chart.
Same kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So what we're seeing on tour quite a bit now is the DI. Let's talk about that one a little bit.
So the DI hybrid, as you can see again from tip, mid to butt section, this time being 4, the stiffest one, the softest. The tip is the stiffest tip hybrid offering we have. I think that's why it finds its way out on tour.
Right.
The mid section is a little bit more of a medium. And of course, the HY versus the DI, a little stiffer in the hands than the DI. What we do with the HY is we're trying to promote a little higher ball flight than the DI. So it's a little softer version, as you can see as you work through, but a little stiffer in the hands to bring that kick point down for a little higher ball flight.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, Nano Reloaded. So YS Nano Reloaded is now about a year old. We launched
Yeah.
that last year.
YS. How long has YS been around?
YS, yeah, it's been around
When I
since
first started fitting, I was fitting with YS.
yeah, the early 2000s,
Yeah,
YS
yeah.
and the YS Plus line. What we've done here is we've taken the YS Plus profile, Russ, and we've modernized it with the DI technology. So we call it Nano Reloaded. So we've
Okay.
reloaded the YS Plus with some new technology. That's also employed in the tip of the shaft to promote a little bit stiffer version of the YS Plus.
So you've taken this nano resin and you've tightened up the tips a little bit to deal in the woods, especially with some of the heavier heads that we're seeing.
Right, as we've gotten a little heavier heads, right, a
Yeah.
little more stability in the tip to help
Yeah.
with that.
So if you're familiar with the shaft and now you're playing a slightly heavier
Right.
driver
It'd be a great
head,
selection if you're currently
Yeah.
playing the YS Plus. You want the modernized version of it,
Yeah.
and the price point is right in the middle of our price point spectrum,
Mhm.
just above the G Series, just below the Tour ADs.
Mhm.
Available in a 5, 6, and 7 weight, and all
Mhm.
the flexes that go with that. But yeah, I think that would be something for a player that
Yeah.
has that YS Plus still in his driver to consider looking at.
And this has long been one of my favorite hybrid
Yeah,
shafts.
YS hybrid. So same thing here. We modernized the older YS Plus hybrid with the DI material technology. That's available in 75 and 85 gram weights
Yeah.
as well. Your
Yeah.
standard 370 tip, these being the standard 335 tip.
What's next up here? Okay, so here's a little
comparison.
explanation of
Yeah.
what we have in the woods.
So EI profile, I think the best way to
I'm
look at.
fairly familiar with that term.
Yes, you are. Best way to look at maybe the bend profile of the shaft from the tip to the butt, this being the softer to the stiffer side. As
Mhm.
you can see in silver, the older YS Plus, and blue, the new YS Reloaded, slightly stiffer in the tip section than the
Mhm.
older YS Plus. Same smooth center midsection, and then a little bit stiffer in the handle to balance out the differences that we were trying to incorporate in the new YS. So it's just a slightly modified YS Plus, same smooth, great feel in the YS Reloaded when compared to the YS Plus, but again, modernized.
Yeah, yeah. So another way to look at this is to say that the mid is a little softer. You know, nobody wants to.
Just a
Nobody,
tiny
nobody
bit.
likes that word mid-soft, but I think we're finding that those mid-soft shafts really provide some superior kick characteristics.
Right, you get the golfer is able to load the center of the
Yeah,
shaft and then
yeah.
how the tip is balanced out, as well as the butt section to
Yeah, yeah.
hopefully end up giving the golfer a little more distance
Yeah.
with a shaft change.
Yep. And then the hybrid,
Of course, real quick comparison here. Again, the YS Plus, the older YS Plus hybrid in silver, the new YS Reloaded in blue. You can see a slightly stiffer tip section, but we took and modernized it with a softer midsection, like we were discussing,
yeah.
and stiffened up the handle again.
You know,
Uh-huh.
there's something about this profile, and it's popular in some iron shaft designs where you have this long, stiff tip, and that,
Creates a boardy feeling.
well, what I find is it tightens people's dispersion.
It will help
You
with
know,
that.
And,
It will
and when
help.
you see these long, stiff tips, they're, I haven't had any complaints about boardy feelings when your dispersion goes from this to this. You know.
Right. I guess what I was saying, this isn't so much of a longer, stiff tip. It does drop quickly as you move through the shaft and produces, this softer loaded midsection, which I think helps balance that shaft out.
Okay.
But I understand what you mean by the longer, stiff tip in iron shafts. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does help with dispersion.
Yeah.
But what I like to try to
and to some degree, I see that. You know, I see that in this design that we got to a point here, and I wouldn't say
in the
very,
older
very
YS
stiff
Plus.
tip, yeah. But
Yeah,
it just
good point.
It ran out, and provided great stability
Mm-hmm.
in the shaft, and just seems to work.
Great.
I'd send people out to the range with a couple shafts in their hand, and they would come back and they would consistently say, "I like that one."
I think golfers are starting to realize that, obviously we've optimized drivers with shafts and whatnot, fairway woods, and now even hybrids are really starting to come into play, and they're realizing that maybe I should make a change with regards to the shaft to improve the performance of my hybrids as well. I'm seeing a great result in the driver. Why not move through the bag a little bit more? So yeah,
Yeah.
we've
Yeah.
seen a lot of interest in
Yeah.
the hybrid shafts that we offer.
Yeah, and like you said earlier when we were talking about the MT and the MJ, is that a lot of people that I fit, I give them their first experience with a premium shaft and a fairway wood. and it's always one of these OMG things. What happened?
Right.
I've never hit a fairway that way. Well, you've never had a decent shaft in a fairway.
Exactly.
Treat yourself this year.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe
Yeah.
take a step into the bag a little bit deeper and look at your Fairway Woods and again hybrids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So.
So yeah, this would be our U.S. spec. So this would be the lineup for 2016 U.S. spec, meaning, and this is the product line that's marketed outside of Japan. So
Mhm,
it's what
mhm.
we offer here in the U.S. and Europe, etc. So G Series in the line, G Series Red, that's available in 40 grams, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90 grams as well. So
Mhm,
we've got a
Yeah.
nice offering there.
Yeah.
Our G Series hybrids, 75, 85, and 95 gram weights, 370 tip.
Mhm.
G Series iron, really nice iron shaft. It's got a nice feel to it, stable yet
Parallel.
parallel tip,
Yep,
right?
okay.
Great offering if you're looking to move out of steel into graphite from a price standpoint as well. Of course, the YS Reloaded in the line, and then we still have what I kind of call the Big Mac shaft.
Mhm.
It's been around, as you mentioned, for quite a while. YS Plus is still in our line. It's still one of our good selling shafts.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So. Bill.
Thank you, Russ.
Yeah. So if you're
Pleasure.
looking for more information about graphite design shafts, you
Yeah.
can look at ProChoiceGolfShafts.com. And this is Bill McPherson, the guy that
Thanks, Russ.
takes care of it in the U.S.
Yeah, pleasure to be here, and thank you, everybody, for your support of Graphite Design Golf Shafts and Pro's Choice.
Thanks for spending your time here with us at devotedgolfer.tv.